How y'all doing? Alright, Christopher McKinney back again. I didn't even get a chance to start talking before I got me a... Oh, good gosh. Now, y'all, we got a big old bass on the line here. This thing is huge. I hope you watched my first video. Golly, I better tighten this drag. I hope you watched my first video on bass fishing, how to fish on the dock. If you didn't, you might want to check it out. Alright, because we got us a big old fish right here. And this thing is ginormous, people. Especially for dock fishing, bank fishing. Yep. Oh man, look at this bass, y'all. Look at this. This thing is big, people. It's a good sized bass right here. All right. Now, one thing about bass, since I didn't get a chance to talk about what I was going to talk about, we'll talk about something else. One thing you don't want to do is let these bass, all right, drop on the ground, okay? Bass have a protective layer. You know, they got this film on them. All right, when you get a bass up to the dock, now this bass, right now it's sitting in the water. I ain't picked it up yet because I want to show y'all what I'm talking about. You don't want to get it on the ground. You want to keep that protective film on it, okay? Oh, goodness gracious. Now, this is a big bass, people. All right, so we'll go ahead and talk about how to handle a bass right now. The way you want to handle a bass, you want to take your thumb, all right, and you want to put it right about your first knuckle right there in its mouth, okay? And you want to pick it straight up. Now, the smaller bass you can let hang. We'll talk about that later. This is a bigger bass though, and if you try to bend its mouth, it can really hurt its jaw. Okay, so the bigger bass you want to pick straight up in the air. All right, come here, buddy. Come here. All right, he ain't letting me grab him. You just got to kind of reach down. And there we go. Now look at that thing. All right, that is a big bass, people. Now, once you get him, if I can never get the hook out, there brings me to tip 2. Always carry needle nose. All right, we'll talk about how to handle the bass. Well, this thing's in there. Now, like I said, you don't want to let this, all right, touch the ground. Now, this is a huge bass, people. You don't want to let it touch the ground because it can really mess up his protective layer. We're going to put it back. Now, here's how you put a bass back, okay? You don't want to throw them back in the water, all right? That's bad for them. It can hurt them, all right? You just want to kind of ease them on back in there. Look at that. And he'll swim off. Well, give him a minute, and I promise he'll swim off. Give him a minute. There he goes. And he's gone. All right, so I didn't even get to talk about what I was supposed to talk about. Instead, that was kind of an impromptu on how to handle a bass. Now, that was a big bass, okay? Smaller bass, you can grab them and you can kind of bend them, okay, so to speak, to keep them immobilized. And that's fine for them. I'd say any less than 2 pounds, you can do that. 2 pounds or less. You see a lot of anglers, if you watch a lot of bass fishing or anything, you'll see them kind of bend and the fish comes at like a half a L kind of. The smaller bass, you can do that. That's okay. But with a bass that size, that was probably about I want to say, felt like about 9 pounds. You can't do that. You'll hurt it. Okay, you'll really hurt the jaw. So you want to grab it with your thumb. And I had what you couldn't see maybe is I had my 3 fingers here, and I had it kind of up under his jaw there. Okay, and you know, it ain't gonna hurt him, but you got to put a little pressure, because if you don't put just a little bit of pressure, they can flop around, you know, and you'll be holding it, and it might scare you, or it might even hurt a little bit, because you know, bass, they don't have teeth, but they have almost sandpaper on their lip, and it might hurt you or something, or just scare you, and you can drop it And once you drop it and it hits the ground, okay, they will lose that layer of slime, like a film, on their body, and that's really bad for the fish. Okay, so with a bigger bass like that, you just want to hold it straight up with your fingers right up under, its jawbone, if you want to call it that, and you have your thumb right there in his mouth, and you just hold it real tight. If it starts flopping, try to hold it, I guess is all I really can say about that. Just try not to get too scared. In the end, it's a fish. A lot of people get scared of fish, but in the end, it's a fish, and you're a human. You'll win, I promise. It might hurt a little bit, I don't know, it might, but I promise you'll win. Just don't drop it. I catch and release. Unless I'm trying to eat it. I really encourage catch and release. You saw that bass right there. A lot of people would hang that bass on their wall. But it's just, that was daddy right there. That's probably one of the bigger bass in this pond. And it might get another 4 or 5 pounds, and so there's no point in just keeping them just to keep them. All right. Now, with that being said, thank you for watching. I hope I answered your questions on how to hold a fish, even though that's not what we was trying to do. But I hope it helped a little bit, all right? Y'all have a good day, okay?